see, a certain Talmudi was there named Timothy, the son of a certain Yahudi, Asher, who believed, but his father was Greek.
So there's this guy that his name is Timothy. If you read the book about 1st and 2nd Timothy, it's written, this is the person that wrote it. Come on. He was half Greek.
Who was well spoken of by the brothers who were at Lystra and Iconium. Paul wished to have this one go with him.
Now Paul saw this guy, this half Greek, half Hebrew guy, and he says, everybody liked him. They thought well of him. They thought this guy's a good guy. And Paul said, you know what? I need him to be my partner. I need him to partner up with me. He wasn't alone. He had somebody else. But he saw the potential in him. Okay, and he said, you know what? I can groom this guy. This guy can be really good for the kingdom. Like right now, Mark, who's reading, is being groomed because he's someone that I see that has great potential in the kingdom. All right? So read, Mark.
Yes.
And he took him and circumcised him because of the Yahudim who were in those places.
So he's concerned about everybody else. This guy was not circumcised, and he said, you know what? Let's not have friction amongst the camp. Let's make sure this brother's circumcised. Because he's concerned about everyone else. This is important. That little phrase, that's important, that he was concerned about everyone else. Come on, let's read.
For they all knew that his father was Greek.
Mm-hmm.
And as they went through the cities, they delivered to them the regulations to keep them, which were decided by the emissaries and elders at Jerusalem.
Okay, so the elders had rules and regulations.
Set it up.
We got up and we rose and we faced the east. That's not a commandment, but that's a rule by the elders because we face towards Jerusalem because Jerusalem is our homeland and that's the promised land, and that's what we go back. We reach back to our ancestors by looking in that direction and pray that Yah is going to hear our voice and redeem us from the land that we exist in today. Go ahead.
Then indeed the assemblies were strengthened in the belief and increased in number every day. And having passed through Friday in the Galatian country, they were forbidden by the Ruach HaKodesh to speak the word in Asia.
Okay, so they were controlled by the Ruach. The Ruach is the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit directed the first church into where to go, who to speak to, where not to go. And actually told them, don't go into certain areas. Go here, teach the word. Teach the word here, teach the word. They were being directed by the Holy Spirit, by the Ruach. We call it Ruach. That's spirit, all right, by the Spirit of God. Continue.
When they came to Musia, they tried to go into Bithynia, but the Ruach did not allow it.
You ever want to go someplace because I just got to go tell somebody, but and sometimes you get stubborn and you just got to go tell. I just got to tell. But if you're controlled by the Spirit, sometimes the person that you may want to tell, he says, don't tell him. Don't even speak to him. That's selective by Yah. He can pick, Yah is God's name, Yah. He can select and say, I want you to talk to this person. Or he knows the heart. He may say, don't talk. Leave them alone. All right.
And having passed by Musia, they came down to Troy. And in the evening, a vision appeared to Paul. A man of Macedonia was standing, begging him, saying, come over to Macedonia and help us.
You know, we have cell phones today. If we talk to each other on the cell phone, they were able to pray and get some type of a feed from Paul. Paul was someplace, and he actually had a dream, a vision, and the person that was praying to Paul was communicating to Paul. He saw his face and said, I need you to come and preach to us. That's crazy, right? It's like some kind of crazy. It's like a cell. What do they call it? FaceTime. Right. They did FaceTime in the spirit, right? Woke him up and gave him a vision. We are a spirit being, and we operate by the spirit. So some things happen to us through the spirit that the world don't understand. Right. The world don't understand. You can tell if somebody is welcoming you by just walking into their house. You don't even know it. You'll know that. You'll walk away and you're like, that was not a very good visit. They didn't offer me a glass of water. They didn't care. They were actually happy when we left. Right? It's your spirit is like tingling. You know, Spider-Man has his spider senses tingling. You have a spirit, and your spirit sometimes can tell you whether you're welcome before, and they may say you're welcome, but you know whether you're really, truly welcome or not. That's your spirit working. So this was a spirit communication to Paul, telling him, we need you here. Come on. This is all about baptism.
And immediately when he saw the vision, immediately we sought to go to Macedonia, concluding that the master had called us to bring the Basora to them.
The Basora is the gospel. You hear the word gospel. The actual word is Basora. Basora. Okay, so you'll hear that over and over again. That's the gospel is a bad translation. The word is Basora. Go ahead.
Therefore, sailing from Troas, we ran a straight course to.
How did they get there?
They ran a straight course.
When they got marching order, see, disobedience, when you hesitate, is disobedience. If I call my son and ask him to do something, I expect it to be done now. If he does it a week later, that's disobedience. Yeah. We're in a whole different generation now. We're in a generation where people don't think that their children should be obedient. Well, he's coming. No, when I call you, come right away. Well, when the father gave them marching orders, they ran. It says it right there, right? They ran because they said, Daddy wants us to go and preach here. So they ran to that location. Continue.
We ran a straight course.
A straight course. They didn't deviate.
To Samothrace. And the next day came to Neapolis. And from there to Philippi, which is the principal city of that part of Macedonia, a colony. And we were staying in that city for some days. Mm-hmm. And on the Yom Shabbat.
On the Shabbat, we worship on the Shabbat because that's the day of worship, and this is the day that they worship. Some people say, well, what would Jesus do? Well, if you worship and serve him according to the scripture, you would worship on a Saturday, not on Sunday. We happen to be here on Saturday. Let me get this right. We happen to be here on Sunday, but we worshiped yesterday.
Yes.
We're here today because we worship y'all every day, and today is a perfect opportunity for us to come and to baptize.
Yes.
Come on.
And on the Yom Shabbat, we went outside the city by a river where there used to be prayer.
Okay.
And having sat down, we were speaking to the women who met there. And certainly a woman named Ludia.
So Ludio's there. She's listening to them speaking. They went down by the river, right? And they're just talking. Go ahead. On Shabbat.
A certain woman named Ludia, a seller of purple from the city of Thyatira, praising Elohim, was hearing, whose heart the master did open to pay attention to what Paul said. And when she was immersed in her household, she begged us, saying, if you have judged me to be believing in the master, come to my house and stay.
Now, let's back it up. She said, the book says that Yah opened her heart. It's a spiritual transformation. That when you hear the word being preached, when you hear the Basora being taught, then your heart has to open. When your heart opens, what happened? Go back to that.
And a certain Asher named Ludia, a seller of purple from the city of Thyatira, praising Elohim, was hearing those hearing whose heart the master did open to pay attention to what Paul said.
And then what happened
when she
after
was
that?
immersed,
She what?
And when she was immersed,
Okay, immediately her heart was open, and the word is immersed. The word is baptized. They immediately baptized her. She didn't have any qualifications to be a candidate for baptism. Immediately, she heard the word. She believed in the Father and His Son. She believed what they said, and immediately, it says right there, she was immersed.
and when she was immersed in her household, she begged us, saying, "If you have judged me to be believing in the Master, come to my house and stay." And she urged us. And it came to be, as we went to prayer, that a certain slave girl possessed with the ruach of Futhan,
Which is the ruach of what? Deviation or division. So she had a spirit about her, but she didn't have the right spirit. She had a spirit that would cause division. Come on, read it.
who brought her masters much profit by foretelling.
She's making money as a fortune teller. If you go up and down this boardwalk, you're going to see certain spots that are fortune tellers. You're going to find soothsayers all over the place. And she was one. She was a fortune teller. And she thought, I'm going to make some money off of this. Come on.
Having followed Paul and us, she cried out, saying, "These men are the servants of the Most High Elohim."
Oh, that's not bad. She says, these are servants of the Most High. She on their side. Listen to her, because she's a person that has a spirit of division. So she starts out on their side. Continue.
Who proclaimed to us the way of deliverance.
She ready to preach. Come on.
And she was doing this for many days. But Paul, greatly annoyed, turned and said to the Ruach, "I command you in the name of Yahushua Mashiach to come out of her." And it came out of her that same hour.
The spirit that see, Paul was one of those people where he looked at you, and I said we could determine the heart. He had the ability to look and see the spirit behind the person. And he said, "No, something not right with you. That spirit, you got to." He spoke, according to the scripture, he spoke to the spirit. Said, "Get out of her." Go ahead.
But when her master saw that their anticipation of money making,
Oh, so she had a master? So somebody behind the scenes? And now he's getting a little ticked off.
No, not unless you put it
Hey,
in there.
what's going on here? How come you, what's happening? Let's read. Go back to that. Is she in her master?
but when her master saw that their anticipation of money making was gone, they seized Paul and Silas and dragged them into the marketplace to the rulers. And having brought them to the captains, they said, "These men being Yahudim."
Who said this? This is the same person that was on their side, and now she's saying, these men. Come on, what did she say?
"These men being Yahudim greatly disturbed our city."
They're disturbing our city. I'm not making the money that I was once making. This is not good. They got to go. Come on.
And they proclaim practices which are not right for us to receive nor to do, being Romans. And the crowd rose up together against them, and the captains tore off their robes and commanded them to be beaten with rods, and having laid many blows upon them, threw them into prison, commanding the jailer to keep them safe.
So they got locked up for teaching the truth. They got locked up, and they threw them in the innermost parts of the prison. And they beat them. And this is what happens if one person goes sour in your assembly. They can lead the whole group of sour. A little leaven the whole lump. Before you know it, everybody is talking about them. Everybody. Now they're ready to beat on them. And they're calling the authorities on them, locking their butts up, because one person opened his mouth when he ought not to have. One person. A tongue is a terrible thing. It can be a great tool for righteousness, but it can be a great tool for destruction. Come on.
Who having received such a command, put them into the inner prison and fasten their feet in the stocks. And at midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing songs to Elohim.
So they got so depressed, they went to prison and started singing. They were in prison and they started worshiping him. You know, there's some people that have songs all about midnight. What's happening at midnight, right? Because they worshiped Yah despite their surroundings. Despite what was happening to them. They still continued to worship him. Come on.
And the prisoners were listening to them.
The prisoners were like, wow.
And
You
suddenly,
hear that? They jamming down there. They're singing Shema Israel, Yahuwah Elohim, Yahuwah. Go ahead.
and suddenly a great earthquake took place,
Ooh.
so that the foundations of the prison were shaken.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately all the doors were opened and all the chains came loose.
Okay, so y'all did a miracle. I don't even want to talk about that much. He did open it. He did create an earthquake, and he unlocked, loosened his chains, loosened all the shackles, right? Okay, so but let's not talk about that. That's a minor thing, because the next thing gets really good. Come on,
And the jailer,
the jailer,
awakened from
he was asleep. He woke up from the earthquake. Come on,
and the jailer awakened from sleep, and seeing
hallelujah.
the prison doors open, thinking the prisoners had fled, drew his sword and was about to kill himself.
So the prisoner was about to kill himself because he's like, oh my goodness. Your responsibility is to make sure that these people stay in prison. They're gone. I know they're gone. Where's my knife? I'm about to kill myself. Because this is not good. But he was awakened. Now check this out. I said awakened. You hear that? I put a little emphasis on that word awakened. Because check out what happens. Come on.
But Paul called with a loud voice. Screamed at him. Yo, hold on. Hold, what you doing? Hold on. All right. Saying, do not harm to yourself.
Don't hurt yourself, man. What's wrong with you?
For we are all here.
We're right here. We didn't leave. The doors were open. The shackles were off. They still jamming. They had the earthquake and they didn't leave. Right? Okay, so the doors are open. The shackles are off. And the guard was about to kill himself. And Paul notices it and like, yo, hold on there, dude. Come on.
Do not harm
I said this is all about baptism, right?
That's right.
All right, come on.
Do not harm to yourself.
Don't hurt yourself.
For we are all here.
Mhm.
And asking for a light, he ran in and fell down trembling before Paul and Silas.
He's like, no, give me a light. I gotta see what's happening in there. He went into the chambers.
And having led them outside, he said, Masters, what do I have to do to be delivered? And they said, believe on the Master, Yehoshua HaMashiach.
Salvation is deliverance. Physical deliverance. Physical deliverance. And spiritual deliverance. He saw that they were delivered physically. He said, you guys got to tell me, because this thing you call salvation, where things are literally happening like, I use that word magic, like stuff happening like this, I want some of this. I want that deliverance. How do I get this? Come on.
And having led them outside, he said, Master, what do I have to do?
What do I have to do to be delivered? Be saved.
And they said, believe on the Master, Yehoshua HaMashiach.
This is the same thing he told the girl at the beginning of the chapter. Right? That went down by the river. She believed and they immersed her immediately. Okay, so he says, all you got to do, man, is believe. Come on.
And you shall be delivered.
And you shall be delivered.
You and your household.
You and your household. We have a whole family here that has dedicated themselves to Yahweh that's going to be baptized. Not just one, the whole family. We got sisters, we got sons, we got parents, and we got grandparents. All want to be baptized because they believe. The simple act of belief. Come on.
And he spoke the word of Yahweh to him and to all who were in the house.
So they spoke the word to him. They preached to them. They preached the what?
The word of Yahweh.
Yes, what's it called? The Torah, the Surah, the gospel. Okay, they taught it to them, and what happened?
And taking them in
That hour,
he washed their wounds.
he washed their wounds.
And
The
immediately,
next words,
and immediately he was immersed.
and immediately he was immersed.
He and all his that were in.
Him and his whole family was all immersed. What were the requirements for him to be baptized? Belief. What other acts did he do? Did he go to discipleship class? Did they mark him down as a candidate for baptism and give him a 6-month course on what do you need to do to be baptized? No. They said, you know what? We believe. And because of his belief, him and his whole family was baptized immediately. I'm saying this to you because this family is being baptized, but anybody that's within the hearing of my voice that says, you know what? I believe what you're saying. I want to be baptized. What's stopping me? The river's right there, and we're going down to baptize because that's all the requirements. All the requirements are right there in that one chapter. We take things and make it complicated and make it so complex when it's so simple. When it's so simplistic. When it's just as easy as 1 and 1 is 2. But we turn it around and we put all kind of man-made requirements on top of the requirements that he made. And that's actually, most of the time, 99% of the time, we'll create our own requirement and throw out his. His requirement is that we worship on Shabbat. That's simple. Saturday. But we're so busy about doing our own thing on Saturday, we ain't got time. Because our mommy worshiped on Sunday. Because our grandparents worshiped on Sunday. Because that's the way we did it. We've always done it that way on Sunday. That's not right. That's man-made requirements. And you rather obey man than Yah. And that's why we're living in the world that we're living in. Where you wake up and you find that there are people killing 9, 10 people in a shootout. Why? Because they don't know truth. And they won't walk in truth. And they won't listen to truth. Ezekiel, 2nd chapter, talks about eating the scroll and chewing it up and teaching truth. And he says in the book that most of them will not listen to you. Most of them won't hear you. Most of them will reject you. Most of them will keep on walking by. Most of them will keep on running by. Most of them think that you're a nut because you're out here on a Sunday with this white robe on and a stick in your hand. What's up with this guy? Huh?
And blowing shofar.
And blowing shofar. And blowing the shofar. Blowing the shofar has always been a way of doing 2 things. Telling us that there's danger and sounding the alarm to worship. When you hear the long blow of the shofar, that's the sound of worship. That means just like they went running to go teach, we should be running to go worship. And our number one game plan, because everybody got to have a game plan, right? If you play basketball, you play any sports, you got to have a game plan. Our number one game plan is to worship God. That's it. That's the worshiping of Yah caused the shackles to fall off. The worshiping of Yah caused the gates to open up. The worshiping of Yah is the one thing the one thing that you can do that's going to alleviate some of the hardness in your heart. Because you can't get it off any other way. You know what a say, now you got me going. You know what it is to have